Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, and today's energy read for Saturday, November 1st begins now. The cards are pre-shuffled, and so we have the Ten of Swords, and that's clarified by the Magician in reverse. And then the final card here will be the advice. So starting off with the Ten of Swords upright. This is about patterns repeating. It is a 10 card, so it is about an ending in some way, but it's not necessarily a pleasant ending. But once it's all over, you're happy that it's done. So it is speaking to transition with it being a 10. Now, what's happening in the 10 of Swords here, this is traditionally the betrayal card, knives in your back. So there could be this sense that you just don't want to be disruptive, or it's like you're in recovery mode. So I get a sense of wanting to hide away and just retreat and draw back your energy today for Saturday. It is the beginning of the month. So to get a 10 card at the start of the month, it's almost like today and the next few days, maybe the first 3 days of the month, it can be a time of reflection and recovery from whatever occurred for you in October. So if October was a particularly turbulent month, and I can personally speak to that it definitely was. The energy was disruptive. But I can also say it was something in a way I saw coming. So I knew whatever the outcome, things were going to change for me. And this journey that I was on was going to end. Now, whether it was going to be positive or negative was still up in the air. So some of you might be able to relate to that you just weren't quite sure of what the outcome would be. And for some of us, the outcome was the Ten of Swords. It was like this was the final betrayal. This was the final sword in the back. So maybe you felt like in the recent past, especially October, you just endured a lot for the sake of maybe getting along with people, your family, your friends, your coworkers, someone you were having a hard time with. And in October, that was the final straw. Whether it was you decided proactively, this is over, I'm not going to deal with this anymore, or the decision was made for you. And so with the Magician in reverse, for a lot of us, the decision was made for us for this journey to end. When the magician comes out in reverse, it's like a powerlessness. Like you have to kind of give it to God, because you could have been spent in some way, or you didn't feel like you had, you didn't feel like you had the resources to deal with whatever this situation is. And so, or your power was interrupted, or there could have been someone more powerful than you who was maybe pulling your strings. That's the way you felt, manipulated. But maybe you felt like you couldn't do anything, you couldn't say anything for this situation. So the positive in this is that it's over, but you might still have a lot of hurt feelings, and there is a temptation to maybe get stuck in the past because of this, or stuck dwelling on it, ruminating on it, like, man, I can't believe that happened to me. I can't believe they did that to me. I can't believe they got away with it. So the Magician in reverse could also be someone who's using their power for evil. They're using their power to manipulate, not to empower, not to help others, but to hurt others. And so they could be the cause of this Ten of Swords. So a misuse of power could have deeply affected you. And so I guess the question is, where do you go from here? What happens next? And so let's take a look at the advice card. So it's a little rough. Now this is a daily energy read for just today. But this energy, like I said, it could linger for the next 3 days. It maybe could linger for all of November. But with the Five of Cups here, it is talking about disappointment in the outcome. Like I said, there is still some rumination about what just happened. And so at some point, we all will have to let this go. The trick is, how do we do that? Like, how do we push through and push forward away from this? Because if there was a loss tied to this betrayal, you're going to feel that loss. It is going to have impact on you. It could impact your relationships, your finances, your living situation, your future in some way. So there is even a temptation for like revenge, or there's just like ruminating on the source of what caused this betrayal. You might just want to feel the feelings and then try to let it go. And I think with this disruption, it kind of leaves you open to change now, because you're forced to change. You're forced to go in a new direction. So you might as well pick up better habits. You have an opportunity here. With this loss, there is an opportunity. Now, if you're grieving something significant, like the death of a family member, the death of a loved one, death of a pet, death of a relationship, a breakup, a job ending, it's going to be very hard to see any positive in that. And I'm not necessarily saying that you should. It's to see that if you have to change, if things have to be different, it's better to embrace good habits versus the temptation to go in the other direction. And there's so many different ways that could go, like eating habits, like any overindulgence in like alcohol or substance abuse, things like that. Anything excessive, like even sleeping too much or sleeping too little, like disruption leading to imbalance. Instead of taking this moment to see, you don't want it to get away from you. The recipe is there to really create failure, so you want to fight that. You want to find ways to kind of keep that away from you. And that could be regulating your sleep, regulating your diet, finding ways to exercise. Like, what can you do now with this change? So this is a longer message today, but it is the message for Saturday, November 1st. And I hope that it helps, and thank you for watching.